Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I'm excited and I hope you are for a great day of learning about how to level up in your career, how to grow, how to position yourself for success. And I've got a really fun first session to get things started. Because you're here, I know that you're looking for growth, looking for opportunities, and I've recruited, uh, funny that I chose that word, I've recruited a great guest for this first discussion. Eric Riddle is an account lead at TEKsystems, where he helps TEKsystems clients find candidates for open positions they have. And Eric's been doing this for literally decades, and so has a great read on what's going on in the job market for IT professionals specifically. And so, Eric, thank you for joining us today. Um, First question I have for you right off the bat is, what does the job market for IT pros look like today? Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing out there with your clients.
Yeah, thanks, James, for having me. I appreciate you taking the time to reach out and talk to me. But yeah, I'll kind of walk through kind of the state of the current landscape of the IT industry. A little backing up, I've been with TEKsystems for about 22 years. So all in a couple of different markets. So I'm originally from the East Coast and then moved to the Midwest quite a while ago. So, but been with TEKsystems in various roles in all related to recruitment and placing of candidates, whether that be contract to hire, direct placement, or our professional services. So, work with a number of Fortune 500 companies in Des Moines. Work with some enterprise companies and then some mid-size companies as well, and then a few smaller ones. But most of my clients are probably at the enterprise to mid-market level. But yeah, really, like when the pandemic happened in 2020, we slowed down a little bit. The industry slowed down a little bit. I think people were trying to figure out what was going on. But once they adjusted kind of to that remote workforce, really there was only for us a 2 to 3 week slowdown. And then the market just absolutely exploded. Clients still needed to get work done. Projects still needed to be delivered on time. And so the demand ever since then has been quite frankly just insane with the number of opportunities we have versus the people that are out there. So, a lot of these folks that we're looking for, are pretty highly skilled folks, whether it's from the cloud perspective or data analytics or DevOps type stuff. So, obviously these folks are hard to find. And the good thing, maybe that the pandemic, I shouldn't say good thing, but it's kind of shifted people to realize that people can work remote. And so there's more opportunities for folks out there now that maybe 2 years, 3 years wouldn't have been because obviously they were going into the office. They wanted someone to be local. Now it seems like companies are, hey, you know what? We need the talent. This is probably this current landscape or the position we're in. It's probably not going to end in the next year or two. I think this is kind of how we're going to do business for the foreseeable future, whether it's fully remote or hybrid or whatever that looks like. I think what you're going to see is people are going to be more open to hybrid roles, fully remote roles. So I think the job seeker is going to have a number of opportunities to pick from. Just to give you an example, I was talking to a cloud engineer that we were recruiting a couple weeks ago. I might have talked to you this, James, earlier on one of our conversations, but he said that he was looking at 20 different opportunities just in the cloud space. So if I was going to tell someone, maybe, hey, if I'm looking to get into IT, or maybe I've stalled in where I'm at in IT, where should I go? What should I venture into? I would definitely say one of those areas you should look at would be like cloud technology, whether it's, the AWS side or Microsoft Azure or Google. There's a number of different platforms that you can look at, but I would say, just that's kind of like a snapshot of kind of what's going on right now.
So you're kind of headed towards my next question, which is, are there roles in particular that are especially hot right now that your clients are asking you for that you just can't find the people for?
Yeah, good
Obviously,
question.
that's an opportunity for everybody watching this.
Yeah, I would say right now, with the cloud, obviously you see the commercials with Amazon and all that. I would say cloud technologies is probably one of the dominant, skill sets, perspectives, whether that's cloud engineer, cloud analytics, and different platforms, whether it's AWS, obviously they seem to be the leader, but, Microsoft's gaining traction there in the Azure space, and then, Google Cloud. And then there's some other ones that are, if you look at the quadrants, Magic Quadrant, they're a little bit lower on the scale, but everybody's looking at their cloud strategy, their cloud transformation. So I would say definitely cloud technology would be, whether that's the cloud engineer, you can get into. The other area would be security. I attended Secure IO, which is a security event here in the local Des Moines area. And roughly yesterday, I think there were almost close to 400 folks that attended, but all, security professionals. I would say security engineer, whether that be cyber, third-party risk, things like that, governance area. That's an area that's really exploding. DevOps is another area. DevOps engineering would be another area that's really grown over the last 2 to 3 years on just how people do things. Whether it's in an agile environment and the sprints that they have. It's kind of like it's kind of changed the game, I guess. Within IT departments on that. And then I would say the other thing that we're really seeing would be the data analytics area. Everyone's looking at like their data and how can they get faster and more efficient with it and things like that. So I would say that's a huge area. Like, how do they modernize? How do they transform? And then from kind of more of the functional side, I would say, functional non-technical side, I would say like more like on the project management front, with people in IT, like, agile, scrum masters, things like that. Those are probably some of the biggest areas we've seen growth in. So, and that's not just local, that's, national perspective.
So what I'm hearing, folks, is if you're in or moving into the cloud specialization space, security, DevOps, what was the last one, Eric?
Data analytics.
Analytics, data stuff.
Yeah.
All of that, there is more opportunity than there are good candidates to fill the roles. So if you're looking for opportunity, that's a good place to look. Real quick, are there any specific certifications or qualifications that people are asking you for a lot right now?
Yeah, I would say within IT, the certification piece is interesting. Some clients, and it's very few, like require, certifications. It would be nice to have if they have these. If I was an IT person looking, I wouldn't actively go out and get these certs. Like, obviously if you get hired at a company, a lot of companies will invest you to get your AWS cloud practitioner, test or, certification, and then, that you can rise the ranks from there. But there's a number of certifications within AWS. Google has some. Within security, there's a number of certifications, like the CISSP. A lot of times you will, your company, if you're working for a company and you're interested in that, make that known, be vocal to whoever your leaders are within that space. Because I think, who wouldn't, if someone comes to me and wants to get certified in AWS, obviously I'd be crazy not to say, hey, I'm going to fund that. It's just going to create more, get them more armed to be able to sell those services and be able to perform that work. So, a lot of times companies will pay for that. They have training credits that they can spend on employees. And I think a lot of times employees have to realize how they can change their game on attracting IT folks, with the resource that had 20 openings, if someone said, hey, we can pay for your certifications, that's just kind of a feather in their cap to maybe recruit folks too. Right. So I think that's huge, from companies that are willing to spend that money and invest in employees to get them certified. So I wouldn't say if you have time and you want to get those certifications, I think that's great. I think it shows that you're you're curious and you want to kind of, move into that next level in your career. But I would say be patient on that too, because I think a lot of times if you get a good role, the companies are going to invest in you in getting those certs.
That's great advice. And so on the flip side of the equation, if you're a hiring manager, you got to know that, like Eric said, you're competing with potentially 19 other opportunities, like the cloud engineer you mentioned. So you have to be thinking about how you're going to attract that talent, and being willing to invest in their development is a good way to be attractive. Well, Eric, we're out of time here. I want to leave people with something actionable. So what would be your top recommendation for for a candidate to position themselves to stand out?
Yeah, I would say definitely network. There's a lot of in the local chapters within like cloud, or whether it's DevOps or security. There's a lot of user groups that meet up, networking groups. Try to get tapped into that community, and whether it's just sometimes they do like coffees, sometimes they do like happy hours. I would try to get try to figure out who those local chapters are, and go to those meetings. It's a little different now with with the pandemic, but a lot of sometimes those are online now too. And it's just good to get your name out, even if you're looking to change into a different area in IT, and maybe you don't have experience there. It's just good to like kind of get your face, get your brand known, and be curious too. I would say I think with security, especially like a lot of the managers, because people are so hard to find in this space, it's like they're really looking for it's not just about the technical aspect of it. It's like, how do you problem solve? What's your critical thinking skills? That's what they're looking for. So I think try to be curious. There's a lot of industry articles out there on all these different technologies. Reading those and going to those meetings, and then just reaching out to people on LinkedIn, and maybe that they'll kind of catch up with you and talk to you about maybe their experience within security. I mean, if someone's interested in security, I know a couple of weeks ago, someone asked me the same question, and I just, gave this person, some contacts to reach out to, and they talked, and he just expressed his interest in, how to get into security and what does that look like, and whether it's an unpaid internship or a paid internship. I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities, but definitely have to be a go-getter to go out there. And I think if you do, you're going to have plenty of opportunity to land something. And the salaries too. The salaries in IT professionals have really increased. It's unbelievable. Some of the money that some of these folks are getting for their skills. So.
Good deal. Well, Eric, thank you so much for your time, folks. I hope this was helpful, and buckle up. We got a bunch more great sessions coming. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, James.